Okay, the Netherlands were playing Argentina in the second of the quarter-finals at the World Cup. This game had everything. Was it the best game for pure quality? No. Was it the best game for tension, entertainment, and a bit of intensity, nerves? Yeah, absolutely. Did the referee lose control? Yep. Am I surprised both sides kept 11 players on the field? You bet. And were there some unsightly scenes? Oh yes. Some tasty tackles, free kicks, everything, penalty shootout, the lot. But the way Argentina, after 73 minutes, are in control, and then we end up in extra time and penalties, that last 15 minutes, 20 minutes, the Dutch decided to go, right, let's put the big guys on, let's go route one. And the Argentinians had not set up for that, they couldn't deal with that, and then extra time comes, and in the second half of extra time, the Argentinians are just throwing the kitchen sink themselves at the Dutch goal. And they've hit the post, Noppert has pulled off a couple of good saves, both sets of defenders are throwing themselves at stuff. There's some good challenges, there's some bad challenges. And then there's the Paredes incident where he kicks the ball into the bench after committing a foul. Yes, he gets booked for the foul. Does he get booked for the kicking the ball in the bench and inciting the bench clearance? The first of several really unsightly incidents. But let's break the game down. So for the first 20 odd minutes, the Argentinians were struggling to get on the ball. The Dutch had a lot of the ball. The Argentinians had changed their formation for this game, and again, much like Morocco against Spain or Croatia against Brazil, they're happy for the opposition to play in front of them. The Dutch had nothing in the final third. In fact, until Weghorst scores his 2 goals, they had not had a shot on target. Let that sink in. Weghorst's 2 goals are 2 of the 3 shots that the Dutch had on target in the game. So let that sink in. So the Argentines are quite comfortable with that. Now, they had changed their formation. They were playing with a 5 at the back. The wing backs were dropping back defensively. But as the first half wore on, Molina, Acuna, they're creating extra width. De Paul, who started the game on one leg because he has a muscular strain, hey, the fact he survived 70 odd minutes is fantastic, and that guy runs a lot without the ball, with the ball. McAllister, in the 90 minutes before his time, he was brilliant for the majority of the game, taking pressure off Messi, which is very, very important. Alvarez, again, dropping in pockets. Now, yes, Messi creates the first goal, but I tell you now, that wasn't just created on the fly. That is Molina and De Paul and McAllister also probably communicating with Messi in various phases of play that Ake is man. They've worked out Ake is man marking Messi. So they've noticed when Messi gets the ball, Ake's pulled out of position, which is crucial for the goal, because when Messi comes across the field and gives the reverse pass, which, by the way, is fantastic, Molina goes into the space where Ake would have been. That is a coordinated, communicated move. That is not just Messi pulling something out the hat like magic. That is his teammates communicating with him, realising as an attacking unit that Ake is man marking him, and they pull him out of position, and that is a fantastic tactical goal with class in it. But Molina, bearing in mind, he's a wing back. He doesn't score very often. That touch off his left foot, bring it on his right, and stabs it home. That is a fantastic finish. With Van Dijk, who's a bigger man, trying to flatten him, that is a fantastic finish. That is a great bit of tactical teamwork. That is actually a team goal. Messi does the creativity, but the other players for the previous 35 minutes have worked out that when Messi or De Paul or McAllister, when they're in that pocket, Ake is being drawn out and is going to Messi, whether Messi's got the ball or not, on a man marking mission, and that creates the hole in the back line, which is fantastic. The Dutch, then they're done, quite literally at this point, because for the rest of the first half and into the second half, for large portions, they're hopeless. They really were awful. And so Argentina are just having fun with them. And the fact that they keep creating chances, whether they're on target or off target, it doesn't matter. McAllister, De Paul, Acuna is a machine. He will run that line all day long. Perfect wing-back play on the left. Molina, fantastic on the right. They ran themselves into the ground. But because it's not just the Messi show and these other players are bursting with energy and making runs and taking responsibility with the ball, it means when Messi does get the ball, he's in a little bit more space. And so he can do his pass and move layoffs and runs. He doesn't have to bust a gut every time, which is probably why Messi survived the whole 120 minutes and the penalty shootout, because other players are taking responsibility. The penalty, I don't know what Dumfries is doing there. It's a Stonewall penalty. You don't need VAR for that. And Messi slots the penalty on 73 minutes. And at this point, you're thinking the Dutch have fallen apart. They've not been good enough going forward, and they've been too passive defensively as well. And it's at this point that the card-a-thon begins, and Argentina lose focus, and the substitutions, which I still don't understand the 5 substitution rule anymore. We're out of the COVID pandemic for the worst phase of it now. I, I'm starting to wonder about the 5 substitution rule, whether it's a good or bad thing. I'm seeing it now as it does disrupt games. It's benefited Holland, the Netherlands, right at the end of the second half, but it did disrupt the flow of the game. But then the referee disrupted the flow of the game, but the players didn't help themselves on both sides. Both sides allowed their emotions to get the better of them. But Argentina ease up. Mistake. That is a mistake. The substitutions didn't help. While the substitutions are the right substitutions to make, it disrupted the flow of a very confident team at that point. But Argentina ease up. The Dutch decide to go, right, we're not going to play total football anymore. We're going to play League Two football now, and we're going to get the big guys on, Luke de Jong and Weghorst. Now, Weghorst, Burnley fans will remember him with derision because he only scored 2 goals in an entire season, but tonight he's equalled his goal tally for Burnley, for Holland, quite literally in a cameo. That was a fantastic cameo. His emotion at the end, when he's on his knees after the penalty shootout, speaks volumes for how important his little cameo actually was for the Dutch, a team that had created nothing for 80 odd minutes. Put Weghorst on, he scores pretty much with his first chance on goal. It is a fantastic header past Martinez, who, by the way, is a fantastic goalkeeper, but because he's had nothing to do, he's probably lost a bit of focus. The Argentine defence has sat back. They've now become passive, and Weghorst gets his first goal on 83 minutes. And then it comes down to pretty much the last kick of the second half. Now suddenly it's all the Dutch. The Argentinians have lost the plot. Their emotions have got the better of them. The referee is now booking everyone. Every tackle is now a free kick. There's the Paredes incident, which fires up the Dutch a little bit. The Dutch bench clear the bench, charge on the field, and the Argentinian bench charge on the field. And there's bookings going everywhere. And then as the second half wears on, the Argentinians, Messi is now a passenger at this point, it seems. McAllister's run himself into the ground. De Paul's obviously come off. Acuna's come off because he's been booked. He's running a risk of getting sent off. Molina's looking a little bit leggy, and the Dutch have put the big guys on. Van Dijk is now an emergency centre forward. So basically, the Argentinians are defending an NBA team at this point. I keep making this like the Serbia game, like they're playing against an NBA team. They've got a guy who's six. There's one guy who's 6'6", one guy who's 6'4". There's a guy who's 6'2", 6'3", and their tallest centre back is about 6'1". So, and Martinez is not the tallest goalkeeper either. You can see what the Dutch were doing. They're overloading the box, but that cheeky free kick right on the stroke of full time. They've had a few sighter free kicks. This one, they're all in the wall. Weghorst is in a hole in the wall. They pass it to Weghorst, he turns, slides it past Martinez. That is a cheeky Dutch total football 70s kind of play from the Ajax school of Cruyff. That is a hark back to what Ajax used to do quite a little bit, thinking outside the box. That is a total football cheeky Ajax 1960s, 70s cheeky little play there. With a big guy who actually that's a pretty cheeky goal. That free kick is pure shithousery at its finest is the best term to describe that one. Then the extra time comes, and the first half of extra time is really Argentina are getting back on the ball again, the Dutch are getting back on the ball again, but when you've got big guys up front, you haven't got the pace to run in behind, but they've got the pace, the physicality to hold up and win balls in the air against a tiring Argentinian defence. They've got the physicality advantage. They're not I think all the Argentinian backline at this point have been booked. Otamendi is starting to give away fouls. He's losing his focus. He's doing Otamendi things, which is trying to get sent off and give away free kicks and own goals and back passes and doing all the crazy Otamendi stuff that Otamendi does. They play like they did in the first 25 minutes of the first half in the 90 minutes, which allowed Argentina to regain their focus, regain the calm, and in the second half of extra time, the Argentinians bring on Di Maria. They throw the kitchen sink at it. Enzo Fernandez has hit a post right at the end. He drilled that one. There's deflected shots. There's corner after corner after corner. They're doing everything. They are throwing the kitchen sink at it, like the Dutch threw the kitchen sink at it. They're not being subtle. And they don't even have the height advantage. The Dutch have the height advantage, but they're winning the 50-50s again. They're winning the physical battle. They looked out on their feet for the last 35 minutes. Suddenly they come back to like Di Maria coming on, Montiel coming on the right side of the Dutch, of the Argentinians. They're ripping the Dutch to pieces. Ake is out on his feet. He's a fantastic match, but he's done. Messi's still somehow finding a bit of energy in those 34-year-old legs. He's got to wind him up a little bit. And suddenly, the game ends. And you're like, what? You would think that the Argentinians might get the third, because guess what? The Netherlands and Argentina have never beaten each other in regulation in a World Cup, apart from in 1974 when Cruyff was playing. Only time Argentina and Holland have done it in regulation. Every other game has gone to extra time and penalties, which is ridiculous. Ridiculous. And this had all the feeling of the 98 quarter-final, all the feeling of that. With Bergkamp's fantastic goal and two, just without the red cards. The penalty shootout. The first two penalties are not bad penalties, to be fair, by the Dutch. But Martinez, he's a bit of a penalty-saving specialist. He did it at Arsenal. He's doing it at Aston Villa. He does it for Argentina, and that puts Argentina in front really, because the first two Dutch penalties are missed. Yes, they missed one of their own, but they scored their first three. The Dutch are on the back foot. They scored 4 penalties, but because the goalkeeper Martinez has saved 2 of the penalties, and they are good penalties. That's called outstanding goalkeeping. He is a very athletic goalkeeper. For a smaller goalkeeper, he makes up for it with exceptional athleticism. Just ridiculous. And the hero is Martinez. The villain is the referee, in my opinion. And there was also an unsavoury incident, very similar to the 2006 quarter-final between Germany and Argentina in the penalty shootout at the end, after the shootout is completed, where some of the Dutch players are again involved with the Argentinian bench. The Dutch bench, there's going to be some fines out of this game. But I'll tell you now, Argentina, great going forward, look a bit shaky in defence. And they've got several players now suspended for the semi-final. So fitness issues for a couple of players like DePaul, Di Maria, is he fully fit? And I think both their starting right backs are now suspended. How many? There was a lot of bookings in the game. We're talking nearly 20 bookings, including players on the bench getting booked without even coming on to play. So Argentina do have some selection issues for the next game. But my God, that had everything. Was it the best game for pure technical quality? No. Was it feisty? Yes. Did it have passion? Yes. Were there some feisty challenges? Oh, you bet. But the referee has lost control of that game and has sort of ruined the game a little bit. The players didn't help themselves, but the referee's got to set his stall out early. Too inconsistent. And I don't think that referee's refereeing again in this tournament. The Dutch, route one seems to work with them. Cody Gakpo didn't have a good game. And that was telling. Depay, no. Weghorst, he's much maligned, he's much ridiculed, but actually this evening he was exactly what Holland needed. They should have brought him on a lot earlier. They should have changed tactics a lot earlier. Luke de Jong should have come on a lot earlier. They actually had strike options. I know they're not the most mobile, but my God, they're target men, and when you've got a shorter defence that Argentina have, and you have that physical advantage, they should have brought it on a lot sooner, before the second goal. They were so poor for 80 minutes. But there we go. Thank you very much for watching. A bit of a longer review than normal. This game had everything. Thank you very, very much. Please leave your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll have some more content for you very, very soon.